Welcome to Lewisville Update on City Cable LVTV. I'm your host, James Kunke, and today we're at the construction site for the new Tittle-McFadden Public Safety Center. You can see it here behind me. We'll get a closer view in a minute. There's some exciting stuff going on with this building, and we're going to be joining our friends Chris Presley and our architect and our project manager as we go through this site to see all that's being done here at the corner of Main Street and Valley Parkway. So Daniel, you're the general superintendent on this site. What exactly does a general superintendent do?
Well, the easy explanation is that I am responsible for everything outside this office. All the field teams or subcontractors report to me, and I have three primary responsibilities. Number one is making sure we maintain a safe job site. Number two, make sure we're building to the quality standards that are required by our project, by the municipality, by the design team. And three, to make sure that we maintain protection, that we maintain our schedule, that we deliver the product on time.
Sounds like you're pretty busy out here.
Very busy. You know, I arrive on site at 6:30 in the morning and in process of engaging with our subcontractors, and typically at the end of the day, about 5:30 or so, then I get to go home to my wife.
And of course, in these temperate Texas summers, it's a pleasure out there, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We're last week we saw a high temperature of 109 on our weather station out here, so that's, you know, to that point, something we're very careful about with our subs and making sure that those guys are watching the hot conditions and doing so safely.
Good. Water breaks and shade.
Water breaks and shade, and understanding how to monitor themselves. And so far, we've had no heat-related issues out here during what's been a very hot summer.
Good news. This is not your first project in Lewisville, right?
It is not. I did Thrive, which is the Lewisville Multi-Generational Recreation Center. Did that about 3 or so years ago, and was really excited to have the opportunity to come back and work for the city.
Excellent. So what do you enjoy most about this type of project?
So it's really engaging, knowing who you're working for. I think all of our guys are really excited to work for public safety. You know, this is a way where we can kind of give back to those folks that are watching over us when we're away from work.
Sure. So not running toward the gunshots or running toward the fire, but helping them do it.
Absolutely. It's, you know, there's no one I can think of that we'd rather be working for than the firefighters and the police officers that are out there, you know, keeping everybody safe.
This is not your first project in Lewisville, right?
No. This is personally my fifth. BRW has done probably half a dozen more in Lewisville. They're one of our oldest clients for the civic sector.
Okay. And which projects have you worked on previously?
I was the project architect for fire stations 3 and 8. I helped with the renovations on 2 and 6.
What is different about designing a public safety building from, say, a shopping center or an office building?
All public safety buildings are considered Category 4. That would also include schools, hospitals, any first responding sort of building. That is code required by the building code to have everything from the structure to the power, everything beefed up by 1.5 times more. So if something were to happen to the town, those important buildings would still be functioning and serve as a resource for the community.
So stronger, more resilient buildings.
Yes.
And from a construction standpoint, more expensive buildings.
Yes, definitely.
Yes. So you've done other non-public safety projects, I guess.
Yes.
But you like public safety better, right?
I do, mostly because the clients are a lot more relaxed and fun.
Okay. You heard it here, police officers, relaxed and fun. Chris, what is your role in this project?
So there's several roles. Coordination is a big part of what I do. There's a lot of moving parts with this project. I represent the city on any and all of those matters. So I coordinate a lot with Carol. I also coordinate with Daniel. I'm kind of the owner's rep / middleman of this project.
Are you project manager? Is that what we call it, or what's?
One of many, but yes, yeah, a project manager would be.
Okay, project manager for the city. Okay, and I kind of know the answer. I'm going to ask you: have you done this before?
This is I've dabbled in construction, but this is my first real project from start to finish, so very exciting.
And you're in Public Services Department, correct?
Public Services, yes.
But how long have you been with the city?
I've been with the city for 20 years now. It's been a great journey. The city's been very good to me. I started in Parks and Recreation, worked there for about 10 years, transferred over to Public Services, working with our concrete and asphalt crew. And then where I'm at currently is with facilities, and have had a lot of experience with Thrive and several other projects that going on with the city of Lewisville.
So a lot of hands-on work for you.
A lot of hands-on. This opportunity is great because it's my first major project from beginning to end. So I'm looking forward to it. I've learned a lot.
So we're about to go look at the Tittle-McFadden Public Safety Center.
Yes.
Tell me what this building is.
Right now, we're working on both sides. We have a parking garage and a public safety complex, and that complex is going to house our police officers. It's also going to be a fire station. It's also going to have an emergency operations center, so any kind of natural disaster, any kind of disaster, we have a headquarters.
And how big is this building?
The main building is going to be about 100,000 square feet. With the parking garage and support building, where property and evidence will be housed, is about 8,000 square feet.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And there's going to be a neat feature where they're connected by a walkway bridge. One of the neat features of this building is a lantern on top of the building to show everyone that this is a safe place. This is where you go if you're in trouble. So basically a beacon bringing people in.
So we're pretty early in the project. What's the timeline? When do we expect to open this thing?
So it's looking, right now, we have not had any major delays to the final date. We're looking at the first quarter of 2025.
That's going to come before you know it, right?
It sure is, yes.
All right. So you ready to take us outside and show us around?
I absolutely am.
All right, then we'll do that.
Look.
Every building starts with a strong foundation. So Chris, what are we looking at right here?
Yeah, that's absolutely correct, James. What we're looking at here is the rebar pieces that we put down into the hole of the foundation of the building. So we've got 590 piers that's underneath this building to support this building, so it's got a firm foundation. This rebar is essential. Concrete goes into the hole, this rebar goes into the hole, the concrete dries around that rebar, and it gives you a sturdy foundation for the building.
When we're talking a pier, that's like a vertical shaft you then fill with metal and concrete to stabilize the building.
That's correct. It's 70 feet into the earth. So 70 feet down, we'll pour the foundation on top of these piers. This is essentially, though, what is holding the building up.
So 7 stories down for essentially a 3-story building.
Correct, yes, that's
wow.
correct.
We're very close to where the front entrance is going to be for the building, right about here, looking that direction.
Correct.
Tell us what the design of this building was intended to convey.
So we had 3 driving principles that we worked with the city staff to drive the project forward during design, and that would be service, protection, and outreach to the community. Natural materials, down to earth, just like the city of Lewisville, large overhangs, a lantern that's lit up at night, clear story windows as a beacon to the community. This is a safe space. Down to earth, just like the city of Lewisville.
We're not fancy schmancy in Lewisville.
No, you're not.
So Chris, we're standing pretty close to where Central Fire Station was before it was demolished, and I guess this is where the bay is going to be for the fire engines when it's constructed.
Yes, that's correct. This is the apparatus bay section of the new building, the foundation for that. What's really neat about this, we're planning for the future. This is a 100-year building. So our old Central Fire Station had 3 bays. So this is going to be a 5-bay apparatus system. And so we'll be able to park 4 fire trucks, possibly 2 ambulances. Fire trucks and ambulances are very, very expensive vehicles. And to protect them, these bays are essential. So in order to do that, we're expanding the bays. We're going to have, 5 bays now, big bays to park this equipment in.
So we don't need 4 engines, 2 ambulances today, but in the future we might, and we'll be ready for them.
Correct, that's absolutely right.
And it's way too early for this, but when you get later in construction, it'll be state of the art with the exhaust systems and all the bells and whistles, literally, that a fire station needs.
That's absolutely right. We actually toured before, while we're in the design process of this building, we actually were able to go tour several different fire stations that have just been built. We basically took all the best ideas and are incorporating that into this site.
I guess they're pretty excited about it.
I would bet so.
So they have the vehicles parked here. Their living quarters will be over here, and on the other side, shared facilities for workout and training rooms.
That's right. Police and fire will have a state-of-the-art workout room that they can keep fit, and so they're able to do their jobs.
Okay. And the driveway will still open on the Valley Parkway, so if you hear the siren, stop and let them go by. It's important. Well, Daniel, there's a whole lot going on right here. What are they doing at this spot?
And so what you're seeing is actually we're putting plywood and wood in place to actually contain and form up the concrete. There's rebar and there's grade beams, and so this is all preparation for our concrete pour we have scheduled for 7 a.m. tomorrow. Our wood plywood you see there is actually what contains our concrete while we wait for it to set. And so this is showing the progression of what's going on with our construction. If you look just a few bays to the north, you'll actually see the finished product of our grade beams where we remove that plywood and expose the finished concrete.
So tomorrow they're going to pour concrete here. How much are you going to pour in one day?
So we have 80 cubic yards of concrete coming. So that's 8 trucks. That's also 2,400 cubic feet of concrete that we're going to be placing in these forms.
Amazing. Big, big project.
Big project, yes, sir.
What's that little robot machine doing?
So the machine over here is actually compacting the dirt. As it goes back and forth, there's the machine vibrates and pushes down the dirt. The wheels vibrate. If you see the wheels actually have some knobs on them, and that allows us to exert pressure on the dirt, so we actually compact that dirt down.
That's packing the dirt down to make it more solid.
Absolutely, and once we complete that, we have a laboratory out here that does inspections. It's paid for by the city, and that laboratory comes and verifies that dirt is compacted to within a specification that the design team establishes for us.
So if it's not compacted enough, then the foundation is not stable at that point.
Absolutely. It's critical that we get all the compaction done so we don't have any settling or any issues after we're complete.
And if they come out and test and say, nope, not quite?
We come and correct the issue and retest to make sure that we're compliant. We don't walk away from an area until that testing is complete and passed.
Better to test twice than to just not get it done.
Absolutely. We got to get it nailed to make sure everything's right.
Uh-oh. Hey, Carol. Okay, don't freak out. I found a mistake. That column is round.
Yes, it is. It's supposed to be.
It is?
Yes. That is the public entrance to the property evidence area. That's where the public will come to pick up their property that's been missing and recovered. And because the front of the building will be facing the parking lot instead of the drive along the back, it's a clue for people to turn the corner. It's just a subtle subconscious hint about where the entry is.
Oh, very thoughtful. So Daniel, we're inside the parking garage now. Tell me about how big this parking garage is.
So we're going 6 stories up. And if you'll notice over our shoulder, we have the shoring system, and the shoring system's actually supporting the concrete as we place it. And so it's holding the forms for the slabs and for the beams going across. That concrete weighs about 100 pounds a square foot when we replace it. So you can imagine, huge areas, all that load is being transmitted down to the ground. And so we actually will carry this all the way up. Behind your shoulder, there's actually a bay where we've already stripped the forms, but we've done what's called reshore it. So we've actually put shores back underneath that, because as we go up, we have to transfer those loads as we're pouring all the way down to the ground. And in fact, you'll notice that we haven't poured the floors yet for this level, and it's because those floors weren't capable of supporting the loads imposed by the structures above as we went up.
So this garage has a little more than 200 spaces for police and fire for better security and access for them.
Absolutely.
And our special vehicles, they're expensive. But there's also something unusual about it. There's going to be a building right in the middle of this. Tell me about that.
That's correct, yeah. We have a building underneath another building, which is very unusual. So this is what we call the support building. And so there's maintenance bays for police vehicles and other support spaces for the police and fire department. This building is self-contained. It actually has a roof that will be separate from the structure above. So it's really a self-contained building inside the footprint of this garage.
Oh, interesting design. Interesting. What is that?
So over here we have a tower crane, and so that tower crane is used for some very specific reasons. Number one, we're running off electricity, and so we're not using diesel or gasoline power to power that crane. It's also a very small footprint. If we're using a crane that's on tracks or a crane that's on rubber tires, we're typically going to be taking up more space to use that crane, and so that crane footprint is very small. This is also the safest piece of equipment we can use on site. These cranes are much safer than a crawler crane or a traditional crane you would think about. And so up in the cab, the operator sits at the top of that cab, close to 200 feet up above our project, and has a view of the entire project. He communicates via radio to the people that are actually, we call them flaggers, that actually tell him where to place loads and stuff. The buckets of concrete that he can take to the very end of his boom weigh about 6,000 pounds.
Wow.
And so it's a huge help for us. It's helping us expedite the project and helping us build it in a more safe fashion.
And his box is air conditioned, right?
His box is air conditioned.
Safety, always safety.
Absolutely.
Hey Chris, there's a tree in the middle of your construction site. What's the story about that tree?
Yeah, you notice that. As you walk around the construction site, there are several trees that you just see, and it looks odd. This full-grown tree is in the middle of a massive construction project. That is because as a city, we feel it is important that we just don't get rid of trees to get rid of trees, so it's easy. These are fully mature grown trees that we have no intention on getting rid of. We have put caution tape, we have used orange fencing, we have arborists that come in to check the soil sites. It's important to the city that we keep as many trees as we can.
All right. And by the way, that's a lace bark elm. Now you know. I'm your host, James Kunke. Thank you for joining us on Lewisville Update.